Hey everyone, it's the History Nerd back with another episode of Smoky Skies. Now, terribly sorry for no upload yesterday. I wound up not being home until about quarter to 11. So, yeah, that just wasn't going to happen. And, yeah, what I'm going to do first is just answer some of the comments made on the Austrian video, since there's no other video to answer those on now. IALSs, the Celts are great. When I first got Gods and Kings, I was doing two playthroughs, one that I wasn't recording, so I could kind of learn some of the systems, and the Celts were the ones that I was doing the other playthrough with. That being said, I think for my next playthrough that I'm gonna actually put out there for people to see is gonna be a little different. A lot of the games and the LPs that are out there kind of focus on what's going on, and you're almost busted. Yeah. A lot of the LPs that are out there focus on sorry, as I'm thinking, military victories, and I kind of want to do something a little bit different. My plan is to take Ethiopia, and there's a number of reasons for that. One, I don't usually play non-European civs, so that would be good to just try someone else out. I really, really like the look of their defensive bonus against empires that are bigger than them. So my plan is to kind of have a few cities that are pretty big, and then go for a diplomatic or a culture or a science victory or something that isn't military. Now, the reason why I'm going to go with Ethiopia is because they've got their defensive bonus. So if I do get into any sort of war, keep it strictly defensive, and I should be able to come out on top. Hopefully. Pretty big hopefully there. We'll see. Oh, I wanted to use that battleship. Oh well. We'll just have to use a submarine. Kaboom! Yeah. And slowly... Oh no. That destroyer's pretty damaged. Probably shouldn't have moved him that much closer. Oh well. And there we go. Suck it, yellow. Oh, no, no, no! Oh, cockiness. That's okay. I should have been paying attention to that anti-aircraft cannon. There we go. So we're making nice and slow progress here. Slowly getting the land units in. Come on, just chugging. Why are you so slow, computer? So that's my plan for the next Civ playthrough. I don't know when I'll be doing that. Probably when I finish Smoky Skies. But either tonight or tomorrow sometime I want to get started on the Tropico. Now, the thing with Tropico is I haven't played it for a very, very long time, and I haven't played Tropico 4 except for very, very, very briefly. And, yeah, I'm just a little bit worried that I'll be pretty rusty and... Damn. And, that might be a very short playthrough. We'll see. That's kind of my plan. And Matt, 500 points difference, yeah. Ahead of everybody. I wasn't sure if I thought everyone made it to the moon, but if the Ottomans hadn't, suck it, Ottomans. Obviously, Austria is better. So yeah, cool. It's considered a win. Like I say, I'm gonna keep the save file. I'm gonna keep checking it periodically. That's quite a lot of gold you're just gonna hand over to me. Sure. Now, with that gold, I think I'm gonna drop a city somewhere in here, maybe by the oil, and hopefully I'll be able to anyway. And yeah. Excellent. I can afford you. Yeah, that is the best spot to buy him in. So yeah, if you're happy considering the Austrian playthrough a victory, I'm happy considering that playthrough a victory. Get you guys further inland so we can land our troops somewhere. And yeah, Grammar Nazi, that was kind of my feeling too. Nothing beats sitting there for about, I think the longest I let it go before reloading the file and all that other fun stuff was about 10 minutes. And I figured, you know, after the third or fourth attempt at reloading the file and getting getting all set up, trying to get into the next turn, that it just wasn't going to happen. And it's kind of sad, but we did well, and that's good enough for me. Yep. Yep. At least we've still got a battleship there. Okay. I guess you were going to the front, so we'll send you to the front. Now, with the Austrian comments out of the way, let's get on with the comments from the last episode. Pretty sure the moment you slap naval guns on a tank, more guns is your only strategy going with your armor there, Grammar Nazi. So totally agree. They were just like, we can put even more bigger guns on this tank, and they did. Planning stage. I really doubt, though, if they ever built the Rat, that it would work. It just seems too... It seems too big and too ridiculous for it to actually work. But you never know. It could have. It could have. It certainly would have been one hell of a target. Sure, research agreement for just researching the grand idea. Yeah, let's work on that together. And Matt, while I do agree with you that sleep is for the weak, I was pretty weak. Slowly recovering, and I've got plenty of energy drinks tonight, so hopefully I get a couple of videos done tonight. Like I say, I'd like to get started on the Tropico, just to see how it goes. I can always just go back to Civ if it's not going according to plan. Hopefully it will. It should be fun. At the very least, the music is going to be amazing. I love the atmosphere that gets set up in Tropico games. So, yeah. Now, I did, Matt, kind of perhaps put my foot in my mouth a little bit when I said that the Rat was the reason why they lost. Or just the mentality behind the Rat. There were a lot of reasons why Nazi Germany lost the war. Economic reasons for sure. I'm going to go on a bit of a rant, I have a feeling, because it's history and I love it. I recently finished Hermann Goering's biography. And the mentality of the upper echelon of Nazi Germany is really, really interesting. For example, with the Luftwaffe, the pilots, from a very, very early stage, realized that the focus on bombers wasn't really going to cut it. It worked well when you're going up against someone who didn't have an air force. Obviously, you bomb the shit out of them, and hey, who knew that would work? Excuse me. But they started running into problems when they had to go up against England. Now, that's kind of a disservice to France. That's not to say that the French, rolled over. No, they kind of did. But it was really the RAF that started to give the Luftwaffe a challenge they weren't prepared for. And people realized this. How the hell do freaking barbarians have a destroyer? That Luddites on a destroyer is ridiculous. Ridiculous. Anywho, so just looking at the German Air Force in World War II, the mentality behind it was bombers, bombers, bombers. And when you're going up against Spitfires, you need a good fighter option. And it was pretty well known that this was the case. And yet, the orders from the Führer were to just keep building bombers. Even with the development of the Me-262, if you guys don't know what the Me-262 is, it is the world's first combat jet fighter. And this thing could have been ready for production. Throwing out dates. I'm not sure if they're correct, but I think late 40, early 41, it could have been ready. And it was originally designed as purely a fighter aircraft. Now, the mentality behind the Luftwaffe at this time was bombers, bombers, bombers. So when Hitler saw the plans for this, he said, no, this isn't going to do. Where do you put the bombs? And this kind of happens anytime you get a top-heavy management system, especially during war, where, the idea of the Blitzkrieg and the bombers were great, like I said, for units that, or for conflict that you didn't really need, or you didn't really have an air force opposing you. The moment you do, you need fighter cover, and Hitler wouldn't allow that to happen. And it's not just with the fighters. I mean, Hitler got involved in pretty much every aspect of the German military, especially as things started to go south. I mean, famously, in the Russian campaign, the standing order from Der Führer was you can't retreat. Now, anytime you tell your military, sorry guys, you're not able to retreat, you're going to have problems. And, the economic factors behind it, for sure, absolutely. And just even looking at geographic position, as soon as the Nazis launched their campaign to the east, you could pretty much guarantee that the war was going to be over. They're not in a position, Germany's never in a position to fight a true front war. And, they got lucky in the First World War. I'll give them that. And the way Russia collapsed during the First World War has more to do with, or had more to do with, just the social and economic conditions in Russia itself. Right? I mean, it was incredibly backwards. It was still fairly medieval. They abolished serfdom in the 1860s.
Men love to wonder.
Yay, Golden Age! But, they were still, for lack of a better word, they were still incredibly backward. And the type of war that World War I was, even on the Eastern Front, was basically a grind. You just slap in, many men as you can into the meat grinder, and kind of hope it all works out. Man, this. I'm trying a new energy drink. It's NOS Electric Cherry. I'm not so sure about this. Tastes kinda interesting. Um, so the number of factors that brought down the Third Reich. Uh, for sure, the economic situation. They couldn't compete, especially once America got involved. Late 1941, December 7th, the date that would live in infamy when America finally decided to get its ass into World War II. That's a major turning point because yes, we're good friends, sir. All of a sudden, you had a huge manufacturing base and a huge base of labor that couldn't be bombed. And I mean, it became a bit of a focus for Nazi Germany. How the hell do we bomb the Americans? Well, they came up with things like the American bomber, which was being designed in the early 30s. Which, first off, is a little mind blowing that in the early 30s they were looking at basically an orbital bomber. But I mean, there's just no way that would have worked given the technology at the time. But there was always, with the Nazis, there was always that little bit of wonder weapon type thing going on. And, for things like the V1, which wasn't all that successful, but it was incredibly successful as a propaganda tool. And the V2, which was definitely a lot better than the V1, but still, not quite big enough. Now, there were plans for the V3, which was a ridiculous concept of just basically a massive cannon built into the hillsides of France that would never work. And that's what I meant when I said, the rats, why they lost the war, is that they lost focus on what they needed, and they decided to put their faith in their ability to out-tech their enemies. I mean, compare, for instance, the Tiger II and the T-34. Now, a lot of people talk about a lot of people. A lot of history nerds will sit down and have those discussions over beer of what was the best this or that. And a lot of people I talk to seem to think the T-34 was just an amazing tank. It wasn't. The T-34 was a piece of junk. It was a death trap. Their crews died. The casualty rates of T-34 crews were huge. Aside from the sloped armor and the independent suspension, which were both very good developments, they couldn't compete with the best that the Nazis could offer. One-on-one, even a Panzer IV compared to a T-34, it's not even a question. I know for a fact which one I would want to be in. The reason why the T-34 is so freaking famous is just because the Soviet Union was able to stamp them out in ridiculous quantities. And, happiness. Woohoo. And that was the major failing of the Germans. Not only was it just an economic issue, but ideologically they just weren't thinking right when it came to fighting a war. By the time they should have been focusing on, mass developments of BF-109s or the what was it, the FW-190, they were still pushing bombers instead of coming up with a medium tank that was easy to mass produce and get the numbers out, which is why the T-34 and the Sherman were so successful. They weren't great tanks, but you could mass produce the crap out of them, and that's how the Allies were able to beat them. The Germans put too much emphasis on quality, whereas everyone else put a bigger focus on quantity. And yeah, so that's a bit of a rant. So and there's other factors in that too. I mean, if you take a look at Hitler taking over control of the entire armed forces. Here was somebody whose sole military background was being basically a message runner in the trenches. And no, screw you, Octavius. Here he was ordering generals around, and ordering them around in incredibly stupid ways.
Men love to wonder.
The ideology that took over was ridiculous. And, you had situations where... get there and heal. Where, trains were being diverted instead of for munitions use to continue up with the final solution. And, the Holocaust was a horrible and atrocious event in history that was guided by gross, disgusting ideology. And that really took over Nazi Germany. And at a stage when they should have been thinking about, not wiping out millions of people, instead focusing on fighting a war. Yeah, you'll pay for that. There's so many things. Economics, absolutely. Top-heavy structure of the way things were running, and I mean, yeah, there's a lot of reasons. So I'm not sure if that rant made any sense, but, yeah, killed some time at least. Oh, look at that! Wow.
Many great and powerful civilizations have fallen, but you...
Excellent. Well then, what indeed. Short video. Feeling kind of bad. The last two videos might have been pretty short. I'm glad my rant was timed almost long enough. But, okay. Excellent. Well, I guess I'm going to end the video here. Victory for whichever empire we were, the Urux, I think, in the Smoky Sky scenario. And... right, well, I was really hoping this game would go on a bit longer. So I think what I'm going to do, upload this, might do myself a Tropico video to get that started, and then, because I'm going to need another Civ game going, just because, I will, I'll start up another Civ too. I might do Ethiopia, I might do something else. We'll find out. But anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. Ignoring my phone. Thank you guys very much for watching. Leave your comments, questions, concerns, what have you below. Thumbs up if you've enjoyed this. If you want to see more scenarios, there's a few other scenarios. Let's look at those. Well, we've got some time. So we've done Empires of the Smoky Skies. If you guys are interested in seeing Fall of Rome, Into the Renaissance, or Rise of the Mongols, let me know. And, yeah, we'll do something like that. Again, thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.